I've met with a lot of firms that have had these situations before, but I haven't found anybody as good as Merlin and as dedicated to what they do. They're not here to make you happy. They're here to win.
Met Matt Nanju several years ago. Just really awesome guys as far as giving the information. They care about the contractors. They care about, really how the whole process works. And then they're very honest as far as when we have a claim, to give us their honest opinion as far as whether or not we want to pursue that or not. And then once they, receive that claim, they really do a great job at following up with the homeowners, making sure that they're representing our company, because at the end of the day, our client is trusting us to put them in touch with the best in the industry.
What's up, guys? We are back with some live coverage. The storm is now moving into the Chicago area here. We've had widespread, very strong winds with this, everybody. So we're going to go right into covering exactly who's going to see the strongest winds here as we are now beginning to pull in the westernmost sections of the Chicagoland area. The entirety of Chicago and all of its suburbs are now warned for at least 80-mile-per-hour winds as this thing is racing to the east. We just had the storm impact Rockford, Illinois just a few moments ago. You can even see the spin with this as it, let me just kind of hit play again. You can watch the northern part, the top part of your screen here. Like, look how it's spinning. It's really just turning into its own, everything is kind of feeding into the storm right here, and that is really kind of getting its act together. And I frozen? There we go. So let's break this down. Let's kind of see what we're expecting. We've had at least 70-mile-per-hour winds confirmed most recently. What was the name of the town? Let me double check it again here. Over by Mendota, up to 70 to 75-mile-per-hour winds. We even had some quarter size hail. Look at that. That just came in a second ago to the east of Rockford. And whole thing, everything is warned for, I believe, upwards of 80 right now. Very dangerous storm, 80-mile-per-hour winds up and down the line. And if we look off, you got the normal radar, and then this is the velocities. A lot of bright colors on here. Typically, you don't see the colors this bright, this crazy. Got little pockets, little areas of stronger wind. I mean, look how fast this is moving. This is updating every 2 minutes, and it's moving like a few more miles off to the east, going about 70 miles an hour. We're going to be impacting Naperville. We're going to be actually impacting Sugar Grove and Aurora and Naperville very soon. So the next about 10 minutes or so, this is going to get from Caneville to Aurora as this is hauling to the east. Little pockets here. You can notice these little areas of the purples, the bright purples, and the whites, and this is all indicating winds upwards of over 80 miles an hour. And again, we are not that far up from the radar. It's only about 1,000 feet up, so that means chances are you're my mic's out. This should be working. Hang on. Yeah, no, I'm working fine. I don't know what you not hear me? See it coming up fine on here. So anyway, I believe it's working fine. Yeah, I'm working good. It might be something on your end. Turn your volume up if you don't have your mic on. Volume on. So anyway, these little areas, anywhere where you're seeing that like purple color coming up, that's indicating 80-mile-per-hour winds, what's happened for like right there. And you even see these little tendrils sticking out. This is indicating you could possibly even see little spin-up tornadoes with this. Any of these are possible here. So keep an eye out on this. Of course, if you're living in the area, the winds are going to be so strong that chances are, even if there is like a tornado or not, you probably are not going to even notice that if there's a tornado or not, because we're going to be seeing winds in excess of 70 miles an hour all the way from way down in the south here, all the way up this line to as far north as just by Harvard here. This is all experiencing some pretty intense winds. So, I'm in Warrensburg, Missouri. Yeah, Missouri's getting it too. I gotta go check that out. So, this whole line, we're going to see very strong winds moving all the way through. Latest update, your strongest winds, I definitely keep a close eye on right along Highway 34, by Sandwich, of all things, to Plano, to Yorkville, to Oswego. This is coming in to the east now. This is going to likely be your strongest winds at the moment, following this arrow here, east to west, tight or a real strong section of winds. And it's really what's going to be across the line. The line as a whole, as we've proven through Iowa and even into western Illinois, the whole line's making winds 65 to 75 miles an hour. And there's going to be little other areas that are going to also have that potential for even stronger winds. And then on top of that, we have, just as this is pulling into the city, multiple little areas that we have to watch for little spin-up tornadoes on top of that. So very localized areas, possible even stronger winds heading towards. Is Yorkville going to get hit? Yes. Yes, this is going to be Yorkville. You are imminent. Next 5 to 10 minutes, you're going to be pushing through winds gusting over 65 miles, over 70 miles an hour. And we're actually now under a tornado warning. So like I was just mentioning, the little areas, little fingers sticking out of the front here. If we zoom in really close, you can see all these little guys showing up right here. I'm going to draw them on you. That, all these. That's what you're going to be looking at. The potential for a little spin-up tornado. It goes up real quick, comes down, drops something, goes back up. Whole thing's going to be so windy that there'll just be little areas where there's even more wind than what we are expecting. And this is likely going to be the case as we push all the way through Chicago. So there'll be multiple. So if you hear those sirens, you can get inside. This is going to be pretty intense here, guys. A lot of strong winds going off. So let's see. I'm trying to get everybody on here. DeKalb and Sycamore. You guys are probably already experienced it. You're probably getting pretty strong winds already, and it's going to keep pushing off to the east. You're Elgin, Aurora, Yorkville, Oswego, all you guys, very soon here. If you're hearing those sirens go off, you need to get indoors, because even if you don't get hit by a tornado, you're going to be getting hit with upwards of 80-mile-per-hour winds in the next few minutes here. So, and these little tornadoes, they're not going to be the long trackers. You're not going to be able to see them coming or anything. If they happen, they're going to spin up really fast. They go up, and they will be gone by the next radar frame, the next 2-3 minutes. So, all right, so like right here, this one right here. This watch this guy right in here, right where I circled, and then strong winds down here by Millbrook. So like right in this area that I have highlighted. Look how strong these winds are here. That's going to be your localized area. Very strong winds over 80 miles an hour, pushing to the east towards Yorkville, southern sections of Yorkville. And then this right here, that's your best chance from what I'm looking at right now on radar that could have a tornado. Anything that sticks out like that, like almost like somebody trying to flex their bicep or something, that's going to be your potential for a weak, quick spin-up tornado. You're not going to see it. It's going to happen. It's going to be a lot of wind anyway. It's going to be just a little bit windier in those spots. And these are likely, again, going to happen pretty frequently here as we keep pushing through the Chicagoland area. I'm going to kind of zoom out for a minute and look up, see any other areas that might potentially have to be tornado warned right now. Hang on, get this out of the way. I think the tornado warning up by east of Rockford. This one can probably expire. The one over by Poplar Grove here, right by Capron, heading towards Harvard. This little couplet right here, that could potentially have a tornado as well. So that tornado warning will likely have to extend into McHenry County very soon, and then further down to the south. Again, the majority of this is going to be wind. Again, everyone's going to be seeing at least 60-mile-per-hour winds with this. Everyone's going to be seeing likely over 70-mile-per-hour winds with this, based on how strong this system has been. Zooming out, again, all of Chicago, the whole Chicago area in Illinois is under a severe thunderstorm warning with winds upwards of 80 miles an hour, and we had 92-mile-per-hour wind gusts by Dixon. So that is the area that's now moving through. That's moved through DeKalb, is now going to be moving into the Geneva area, the Elburn area right now. Notice how this sticks out. Anywhere you're seeing the areas where it kind of bows out a little bit, that's where your localized, stronger winds are going to be. So again, overall, whole line, 60 to 75. The little localized areas, that's where you're going to get a chance to see over 90. But we've had a history over 100, and then even potential for some little spin-up tornadoes, like right here by Plano, currently this spot right here. Whoop, oh, and there it goes. Just like that, an update, it's gone. But likely be, if it was anything right here, just north of Highway 34, moving east very quickly. Regardless of if there is any sort of tornadic activity, the winds are going to be very, very strong with this, over 70 miles an hour, likely over 80 miles an hour, just north of Highway 34, right along Highway 34 in Plano. That's going to be heading into Yorkville very, very soon, over by Boyer Lane, Damon Road, Faxon Road, and areas to the south as well. All of Yorkville, you're about to see something. It's going to get real windy right now. Right now. This whole area right here. Get all those, again, you see those purple colors? That's indicate that radar's indicating the winds are over 80 miles an hour. And that's going to be pushing to the east. Again, we're picking this up under 1,000 feet. So this area right here, right along East High Point Road, where it connects with Lisbon Road, the radar's indicating 100-mile-an-hour winds. Does that mean there's 100-mile-per-hour winds at the surface? Not necessarily. Chances are it's a little less than that. We're this picking up under 1,000 feet, but over 500 feet. It's going to slow down a little bit, but just a little bit. It's going to, so instead of 100, it's probably in the 80s. Over 80-mile-per-hour winds. Hurricane Zeus last week in North Carolina had a max gust of 87 miles an hour. This is likely something similar to that, possibly even stronger. And we've had a history of that. Anything over 90 miles an hour, that's stronger than any hurricane we've seen so far this year. So, some serious stuff, guys. This is racing. Hopefully, as we get you're not going to die. Just stay indoors, stay away from stay away from windows, and it'll pass over you. You'll probably end up losing power. Not gonna lie. A lot of folks are about to lose power here across the Chicagoland area. Hopefully, when this thing hits the radar, it does not knock it out, because we got a lot of Chicago to get through here. So again, if you are in Yorkville or over by Sugar Grove, both of these areas that I just circled behind me, it's where your localized strongest winds are going to be. Your winds that are going to be in excess of 80 miles an hour. Everywhere else, 60 to 75, and it's racing east very quickly. This is going to be out of Chicago almost as fast as it gets here. It's right now 3:18 Central Time. By about 4:18 Central Time, this is not even going to be in Chicago anymore. So moving through the area, let's check out any other potential for spin. I'm looking at a couplet here. This is over by St. Charles, right in here, right where we let me draw that on you to highlight that for you guys. There's a little area of spin, another potential for a spin-up tornado. These are going to be going up real fast. You know, almost no warning here, guys. You're not going to be able to see it coming. You might see the big angry clouds off in the distance, but you're not going to possibly see any tornadoes. So you hear your sirens, get in your tornado safe space, There's going to be very strong winds either way. The potential for tornado is just going to be a localized area of a little bit stronger winds. So this is continue moving to the east. As of right now, it's still, the couplet is still there, right over pretty much where the Campton Hills label is, and that's moving pretty much due east. So it'll be just north of the main road here in St. Charles, due east very quickly, about 70 miles an hour. It's going to hit, move past. You're going to get a lot of heavy rain behind that and very strong winds as well. So if you're along places like Route 64, Dean Street, Burr Road, Babson Lane, all that, the potential for a tornado is pretty imminent here as that's racing east. Everywhere else, again, very strong winds. I can't emphasize enough how quickly these things are going to pop up, potentially have a little tornado couplet here, and then keep moving off to the east. South side of Yorkville, this looks like some of the strongest winds. Look at this thing bowing out here. You can notice how it's getting ahead of the line. This is showing more stronger winds hauling to the east here. Somebody asking about mentioning large hail. There has been some quarter-size hail in Belvedere and over by Rockford. And then otherwise, hail is pretty minimal in this. This is going to be widespread, damaging winds across the western Chicago suburbs and then eventually into Chicago itself, across the lake, and then into Michigan after that. I'm going to take a moment here, checking on any other possible reports that have come in. A lot of damage. I mean, we got strong winds all the way down here into Peoria. We had up to 60-mile-an-hour winds in Peoria. Not as strong as areas to the north, but hey, I mean, we are way down the line here, and we're still seeing winds upwards of 60 miles an hour. The main focus is definitely going to be here, pretty much paralleling Chicago, and then moving to the east. That's where your best chance of seeing 80 to 90 mile per hour winds and that potential for any tornadoes. We're still seeing, oh, is that a confirmed tornado? Okay, yes, we confirmed a tornado by Lisbon. Let's jump in on that right now, guys. So they've just confirmed the tornado warning by Lisbon. Let's figure out where that is. I bet I can find it. Instead of looking for hail, it's fine. There it is, right there. So I mentioned the potential for a tornado. Here we are. We're in Campton Hills here. What do you think Indianapolis can expect from this storm? It's going to be a lot later. We're going to see how much it holds together. So, all right. So currently, let's see. All right. So here's CCs, normally for hail, right? Where you're going to be seeing some big objects in the sky. You're going to see the greens and blues. Well, there's no hail with this. This is going to be debris. So this is, you can see where that tornado is right here. Right there, where you see all that area of green. I'm going to highlight it in yellow. Right there. That's where your tornado was. And now, it's where it's at. And it looks like it might have already lifted. It's to notice how the CCs are not as high. But then we move a little further off. And then right there, possibly another one, another little. We're going to be seeing a lot of these guys. They're going to come and they're going to pop up real quick. And, okay, and possibly see something. So it's a confirmed tornado warning. I'm going to see if there's anything else over here. It looks like that's one of the only ones. Everywhere else it's straight line wind. So it's just the Campton Hills and into St. Charles. That's your chances of a tornado, it seems to be right now. That has already happened. Campton Hills right just south of the highway. Looks like it impacted Bath Road and Campton Hills Road, crossed over Route 64, and let me go back to velocities. And if there was still on the ground, it thankfully does not appear to be, or at the moment. Oh, no, never mind. Yeah, no, we still got a tornado on the ground here, folks. Okay. You're right there. Oh, I'm going to clear that again. Let's try that a second time. Right here, right where I have it circled. Tornado on the ground. And this is in St. Charles and it's going to keep pushing east. So it's going kind of east-northeast, the head of the line here. So anybody downstream from this in Wayne, you're next on the docket. We have a tornado warning and a tornado ongoing here. And from what I'm seeing, I only can see little areas of the storm at a time. This is the only possible tornado, the only tornado ongoing. And we're seeing that because instead of looking for hail, we're looking for debris. This is debris falling here, where you see those greens and the greens and the blues. That's where you got a little spin-up tornado coming, probably tearing up some trees, possibly damaging some roofs, and any sort of loose objects out there. Hopefully this is the winds don't look super crazy. The couple is not super tight, so hopefully it's not something crazy. So pushing off to the south down by Yorkville. You guys are getting some crazy winds right now, especially along East Schoolhouse Road. And that's still pushing east. You're going to see some very strong winds coming up very soon here in Plainfield, and then eventually to Romeoville and Lockport, I believe Joliet. All of you guys are going to be seeing very strong winds with this section of the storm right in here, where it sticks out from everybody else. That's going to be some pretty strong winds, upwards over 80 miles an hour. Again, it looks like, I forgot an update in a minute, but a tornado happening right now north of St. Charles. It's probably in Wayne now. So these things are moving quick. They're moving so quick that all it takes is another radar update, and there it is. It's over here now. So now we are right on, again, just north of St. Charles, right along Route 25 and Lambert Avenue. And it's going to soon be at Whitethorn Road and Dunham Road very soon in Wayne. And it's moving east-northeast. You can tell right in here, right where I'm going to circle it there, circle it there. So that's where your tornado is likely at. And this is going to keep pushing off to the east-northeast into Wayne and then Hanover Park. Hopefully this thing can lift very soon. And then we got to keep an eye out. Oh God, is that another one? Hang on, we might have another one here, guys. This is the issue with this. We're going to be seeing a potential for tornadoes all up and down this. We got a new tornado warning out for, again, DuPage County. That makes sense. Looks like we still probably have a tornado happening just north of Geneva and St. Charles. And then there might be something trying to form here. What concerns me is the reflectivity is a little lower. That concerns me. That might actually be something on the ground. Yeah, that's a tornado, guys. Looks like we might have a second tornado on the ground here. This is going to be just to the southeast of Yorkville along East Schoolhouse Road. And this is pretty much moving due east, so it's heading right for Plainfield in the next couple minutes here. This is going to be next, I want to say, not even 10 minutes, like 5 minutes or so. It's 3:28 right now. By the time we got another update, possibly still along East Schoolhouse Road. We're getting very close to the radar, so it's going to be a little more challenging to see what's happening here. Either way, very, very strong winds are about to impact sections of Plainfield over by Rock Drive and South Drawden Road, and over by Lily Cache, Crystal Lawns, and eventually pretty much right over the radar. It's going to be heading right at them. So let's jump back over. Hopefully this one by Wayne has lifted. Let's take a look at that. I'm still seeing some lower CCs. We're still seeing some debris in the air. So possible tornadoes still happening in Wayne, Illinois. That's heading on West Army Trail Road. Let's see if I got the meteorologist chat talking. Okay. So let's see what else. Where else are we? Let's kind of check in, zoom out. Let's see what all is going on. We're getting strong winds all up and down this line. Here is Chicago itself. We are pulling into Naperville very soon here, next couple minutes. By about, so again, it's 3:29. By 3:35, we're going to be in Naperville, like right in the center of Naperville, and then keep chugging east. We're going to make it all the way to the lake, guys. All of Chicago, you're going to be getting this. Varying areas of stronger winds, potentials for tornadoes. Again, the strongest winds seem to be right now. We're very close to the radar in Plainfield, possibly a tornado here. And then we have Montgomery, strong winds. Looks like the potential for a tornado in Wayne. Hopefully this is starting to fall apart a little bit. The rotation doesn't look as strong as it did a few moments ago, and that's going to keep pushing to the east. And let's check in on the overview. Starting to get some wind reports in. We got multiple trees down. We got 62 miles per hour wind gusts in Sugar Grove, 57 mile per hour near Lake Holiday. Winds gusts over 50 miles an hour for at least 15 minutes. 70 mile per hour at Mendota. Let's see, radar indicated rotation. That's good. So hopefully it sounds like the tornado threat might be more radar indicated versus someone's confirming it. We're even seeing 64 mile per hour winds as far south as Bloomington. So a lot of northern Illinois being impacted. The hope is this thing's not making 100 mile per hour winds as we pull into Chicago here. We'll find out in a minute, like as this continues to chug to the east. Got a new warning out now for northwestern Indiana. This is 70 mile per hour wind gusts possible for everywhere from Hammond down to Fowler. And let's jump back into the more zoomed in view. Again, these strongest winds really look like right here in Plainfield. This looks like where your strongest winds are going to be. If you're anything that's over 85 miles an hour, it would be right here with this. As it's pulling towards the radar, we are picking this up at only about 300 feet above the ground, and it's indicating that we're seeing winds upwards of 90 miles an hour. And this is right over Lily Cache and Plainfield. West Wenrick Road, for example, or even over by Harmon Lane, and this is hauling to the east about 70 miles an hour. So this is going to go over the radar in a few minutes, and hopefully this doesn't knock out Chicago's radar, so we're still able to see the storms that are ongoing here. Okay, across Aurora now, I'm looking at some higher reflectivity. Might be a little bit of hail with this. Let's jump in on a couple other things. Yeah, there might actually be, it might be a tiny bit of hail. Some strong over in Montgomery area of Aurora along Highway 30 where it intersects with Highway 34. Could actually be seeing a little bit of a small hail mixing with these strong winds. Again, all in excess of 60 miles an hour. These are all severe winds up and down this line here. Just areas a little more focused with some stronger winds. You're going to get that initial gust as well. So that first gust is going to come, I've been saying between 60 and 75 is what seems to be averaging since Iowa. And then when the precipitation gets a little heavier, it starts pouring. That wind is going to have another burst of an even stronger wind and consistently strong wind as well. 15, 20 minutes of winds in excess of 50, 60 miles an hour, possibly even getting up in that higher echelon of into the 80s. I haven't seen any of those come in quite yet. We'll see. It seems to take a minute. We did have 92 miles per hour over by Sterling, so I know it's got the potential here to really go wild. So if you guys see anything crazy, you see any if you guys could if you see any kind of damage or wind reports or whatever coming out of the news, you can put it in here as well and just kind of give us a heads up with that to help kind of confirm what we're seeing on radar versus to what is happening in person. So yeah, strongest winds right now is going to be right by Plainfield, but it's also possible that we could Where are the videos? I only see maps everywhere. You go check them out on Twitter. We can't embed videos onto our hail trace maps. It's just photos. So here in the Plainfield area, it's very possible that just because we're so close to the radar, we're getting a little bit just better view of what's mixing to the surface. And if that's the case, we're seeing quite a bit of wind. Yeah, we're getting pretty messy here. But looks like, yeah, we're going to be going right over the airport here. So we should get an official wind measurement in a couple minutes. Let's see, we got another over here in Wheaton. Looks like we have the looks like there's a couplet here as well. Hopefully this doesn't drop any kind of tornado, but again, that's why that tornado warning is issued. We could see any kind of tornadic activity anywhere along here as these little fingers keep kind of sticking out and then spin up really fast. And let's see, is there any kind of, nope. And this keeps pushing off the east. The areas where we're likely seeing those strongest winds, like up here further to the north over by South Barrington and heading towards Schaumburg. Notice how we're sticking out a little bit here. As it's pushing out further, that means you're getting probably stronger, you're getting that stronger push of wind here. That's likely you're seeing, again, winds likely in excess of 70 miles an hour, possibly even 80 miles an hour here in the northern sections of the Chicago metro. Further to the south, also same deal by Wheaton as it's kind of pushing out ahead of everything here. And then down here right by the radar in Crest Hill, Rockdale, Joliet, seems to be seeing a pretty good surge of wind as well. I'm curious to see what the official wind speeds are going to come out from this, as we're going to be getting a wind measurement from the airport and probably the National Weather Service here in a few minutes. So zooming back out, see if any other reports coming in. We got hang on, they keep getting the lightning strike. 65 mile per hour wind gust observed in 3 south-southeast of Plano. And then, man, we still haven't gotten tons of reports coming in. The wind reports, unlike the hail reports, like to kind of take their time a little bit. You know, people wait to kind of get out there unless it's all the weather nerds who got their private instruments and whatnot. So we're about to get to where we will be able to see an official wind measurement in a moment here. And we also just got another update from the Storm Prediction Center. Let's check this out. Yeah, so it looks like, okay, yeah, it is. Okay, yeah, so far, comparatively to when the storm ripped through Davenport or Cedar Rapids or Des Moines, it is a little weaker than it had been in the past. It is not, again, it was looking like we had winds over 100 miles an hour in a fair number of places in Iowa as we're pulling into the Chicagoland area, not looking as insane as it did before. So again, 60, 75 mile per hour winds, and then those highest gusts, I would not put it past anybody to see a couple gusts over 80 miles an hour within the Chicagoland area here. Widespread, at least severe gusts. So that's at least 60 miles an hour as we're now moving pretty quickly towards Chicago itself. We're about to cross into Cook County here with some of the leading edges of this pretty intense squall line, also known as a derecho, a long-term intense wind event. So you got anything else? Okay. So let's check out what else is happening across the country right now. I know there's been some weather going on outside of just the Chicagoland area. It looks like we have, some strong winds back by Warrensburg. I know somebody mentioned on the video earlier up to 70 miles an hour winds. That was ripping pretty good here. Looks like a whole new squall line is trying to form. This will head towards St. Louis in a little bit, and then even all the way down into Oklahoma over by Bartlesville. Again, a storm likely, assuming this is warned for 60-mile-per-hour winds. Yes, so we got strong winds all up and down this entire line here. A whole line trying to form all across the Great Lakes and Greater Plains area. And just kind of waiting on some more wind reports come in to help kind of confirm anything that we're seeing on radar, see how much of this is mixing down to the surface and ripping across the area here. Definitely not liking, let's see, any other, I'm not seeing any kind of more intense looking tornadic activity like we saw a little bit ago back by St. Charles. That was definitely the strongest looking tornado couple up here. The northern section where we're kind of all bubbling out over by Schaumburg, Bloomingdale, Lombard. This whole area looks like we're seeing probably some pretty strong winds. Yes, the velocities aren't looking crazy, but it is kind of noisy up in here. So it's a little hard to tell exactly how strong these winds are. Where, I mean, man, we're getting a real intense. We're only about 1,000 feet up, and this is telling me like 80 miles an hour. We'll see. This could be, I mean, well, this is shooting out. Notice how it's shooting out so fast? Just going pretty quick here. The radar is telling me this is about 80-mile-per-hour winds over by Lombard and over by Addison and Elmhurst and Villa Park specifically. We're right in here, the little higher area. That could be some pretty intense wind with this, assuming it's not just super noisy. Oh yeah, we're also getting right on top of the radar now, so hopefully Chicago's radar can survive this storm. So if it ends up freezing, then it probably won't. So we'll see if that survives, and as this keeps pushing off to the east, we're going to be getting into Chicago itself very soon here. We are almost into Cook County. We're crossing the Cook County in just a couple minutes, and this will pretty much all continue moving off to the pretty much due east here, and it's going to push through and then probably get out of Chicago and into Lake Michigan. See, time right now is 3:42. By 4 o'clock, it's going to, the leading edge of this is going to be in Lake Michigan. So this is moving very quickly, still moving about 70 miles an hour, and that will cause probably quite a bit of damage here. Very strong winds. Again, we're going to be right over the National Weather Service for Chicago. They will send in an official measurement very soon so we can see how strong these winds are, and they'll likely update the warning as well and get that initial burst of wind and then more consistent strong winds with this. It's going to be unlike other thunderstorms we've seen where you get, that gust of wind almost 20 minutes later it starts raining, and then you get kind of gusty winds. This is going to be, you get a strong gust of wind and then a lot of wind right as the rain comes in, and it's going to be consistently windy 15-20 minutes. Pretty much the whole time it's going to be raining. We've got a new tornado warning out now. That's going to bring us all the way to Evanston and into Lake Michigan. Assuming likely for this storm right in here by Lombard into Villa Park. Notice the yellows and the greens showing up. That's the stronger velocities, and then you even see the green right next to it. So you got the wind going away, going towards the radar, and then going away from the radar. And when they meet together, that's where you're going to have that chance for a tornado. And and that's not good. I don't like seeing that. When you've seen the CCs here, that's showing debris, possibly seeing a tornado in Elmhurst. Let me roll this back. Right there. See that? You don't want to see, these are the times you don't want to see the greens and blues. Normally if you watch us with the hail coverage, you want to see this. That means you're seeing baseballs, but this looks like we're seeing possibly a tornado with this here. So, all right, let me get back to the CCs. Right here in Elmhurst, it's going north and east, and that's going to we're in an extremely densely populated area. This is all in the Chicago metro. So in Elmhurst, getting North Lake, Schiller Park, Norridge, eventually Niles and Park Ridge, all at risk here for again, probably a brief tornado, may not be the strongest tornado, but a tornado nonetheless, and at the very least, very strong winds in excess of 70 miles an hour heading towards Evanston, and eventually this is going to go into Lake Michigan. And just because that one area has a tornado warning doesn't mean that's the only one at risk. This is all up and down the line here, folks. We got across down by New Lenox, Ridgewood. Notice all these strong, man, look at all the bright colors coming up here indicating those strong winds. So probably, again, widespread strong winds all across near where the radar is located. So Fairmont, Ridgewood, Plainfield, Lamont, and also up by Willowbrook. Another secondary of strongest winds, like where this tornado warning is, I just mentioned, over by Elmhurst, outside of even just that potential for a tornado. And then further north along the line, we got a couple more tornado warnings now, or by Antioch and Lake Geneva. Again, we're heading northeast. A lot of spin with this. This whole system is spinning like a top, and that's causing potential for a lot of tornadoes here. You can see at the rotation, the center of the rotation, right in there. This is heading towards the Lake Michigan, the Kenosha area of pretty much, the center of the spin's like pretty much riding the Wisconsin-Illinois line. So a lot going on, everybody. If you're in the Chicago area, you definitely just want to be inside for this. Hopefully you have enough warning to get your lawn furniture or anything, any loose stuff kind of tied down or in your garage or just maybe inside your front door, whatever it needs to be to just get out of the way so it doesn't end up blowing down the street into someone's car or it just, blows away. Oh, we got another tornado warning over by right along the border here. Oh, man, I can't keep up with them. See, I'm getting lots. Oh, no, I got that one already. 65, 57. Widespread tree and power line damage across Somonauk. Trees up to 4 to 6 inches in diameter snapped at the base. That is stronger. That is definitely stronger than 55 mile per hour winds. That's damn sure. Yeah, a lot of tornado warnings up in here. I can't really. Oh, it's probably for this. This tornado warning is likely for right here, right at where everything comes together. It would be almost like the eye if it was a hurricane. Where everything's all the spin, the center of the top, more or less. So it's very possible that you can get a tornado to spin up in here very easily and at any point. So that's probably why they got that tornado warning all the way out to the lake here. And checking back in within Chicago itself, so we are looking at over here by Bensonville. Notice you got the greens and the reds kind of meeting right here. That's what the area of concern. You got that potential, that's kind of the spin happening, and that's where you could be seeing the potential for a tornado. If I look on the debris, any sort of debris, I'm not seeing anything right now, thankfully. So I don't. But these things can spin up just as quickly as they can go away. So don't let your guard down if it doesn't look like there's anything on the ground right now. Very easily spin something else up again, and even in between radar frames. We're getting updates almost every 2 minutes, but honestly, it doesn't even take 2 minutes for storms like these to drop a tornado. Another area, very strong winds. This is going to be by Oak Park. This is all in Chicago, neighborhoods in Chicago. The Oak Park area, Melrose Park area, Elmwood Park area. This all is strong winds heading towards the coast. So it'll be just north of downtown Chicago. This will be racing off to the east. Again, looks like winds in excess of 65 to 70 miles an hour. And down here by New Lenox, man, good Lord, we're seeing all those greens showing up. That's indicating winds in excess of 80 miles an hour by New Lenox and Marley. This is heading towards areas that seem to get severe weather all the time. By Chicago Heights and Crate, Monee, all this, and it's going to be eventually heading into Lake County, Indiana here in the next pretty soon. These are all coming real quick. again, likely widespread, very strong winds. I can't even keep up with it all here, guys. Another area, this is going to be in Lake County over by Lake Forest. This is going to be crossing into the lake very soon. Notice the leading edge of this is hauling. Whenever you see it moving much faster than the rest of the storms, that always indicates you're going to be seeing some stronger winds pushing down to the surface with this. And that's going to also have, again, likely winds in excess of 70 miles an hour. I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to start seeing a whole bunch of more wind reports coming in after the fact. Okay, DuPage Airport got 62 mile per hour wind gusts coming in. Still nothing at the radar. What are they doing? Come on. Come on. I know you can do it. I think, where is, let me turn the radar off for just a second. Okay, O'Hare looks like it's getting impacted right now. Oh, the tornado warning is like right over O'Hare International right now. So the main area spins over O'Hare. We'll see. We'll definitely get a wind reading from the airport. We should get a wind reading from Midway as well pretty soon. I think, yeah, Midway is coming up next 5 minutes or so. And the very strong winds. Looks like we're starting to really kind of, notice how down here it's starting to push out well ahead of the line. So you got this area south of Orland Hills. This is racing out ahead of everything. So, and velocities are really, I mean, they're getting all kind of messed up, but it's still showing we're getting very strong winds with this push of winds. So again, if there's areas with greater than 80 mile per hour winds, it's likely here. Yeah, this is really pushing. Look how much it moved just while we were talking here. So this is right now. This is not even 2 minutes ago. It was like a minute and a half ago. Really starting to haul. So this everywhere downstream from this, Chicago Heights, Monet, you're likely seeing over, well over 70 mile an hour winds, because this is really starting to accelerate off to the east-southeast. What about Palatine? Oh boy. I'm going to try my best, guys, to keep up with the city names. There's a lot of them, so I'm not going to spend too much time trying to figure out where these places are, but if you haven't seen rain yet, I'll just throw it this way. If you haven't seen any rain yet, then you haven't gotten the big winds. If you've gotten the rain coming through and the strong winds, well, guess what? It wasn't as bad as it could have been. So latest update here, looks like, man, we're pretty much right for the inner loop of Chicago. An area of very strong winds. This is going to be probably wind tunnel quite a bit through the skyscrapers in a little bit. This is some very strong wind heading, again, pretty much right for the inner loop of Chicago. Showing winds in excess of 65 miles an hour, racing to the east. So we're going to be getting to the we're going to be getting to off the coast here by about 4 o'clock, and it is 3:53 right now. We're going to get off the coast, and then it's going to be just south of Lake Michigan, and then after that, we're going to cross over to Michigan a little bit, where the winds, honestly, the winds right here might end up being a little bit stronger because you're not going to get as much friction off the water. Good, yeah, the rain's almost done, so that means you guys are probably in the clear. I think it was Palatine like off further west. I want to say it is, but don't quote me on that. So, any other reports coming in? Let me see. Just try to get the updates of any other wind reports. Observer from near Catton Farm Road, they saw a funnel cloud. That makes sense for what we're seeing here. The storm again, funnel clouds, tornadoes, all very possible within this. I know the velocities, unfortunately, all getting all kind of jacked up within here, so it's a little hard to tell exactly how strong the winds are. Notice how it kind of, this isn't actually showing it going the other way. It's more just, I think things are starting to get a little distorted as we continue pushing off to the east. Right by, hang Now let me figure out where, trying to get my bearings where I am in Chicago. Okay, there's Midway, so south of Midway. Looks like south of Midway Airport by Oak Lawn, you are getting some very strong winds as well. This is, yeah, went by fast. This is going to go quick. It's going to arrive, hit hard, and take off. It's not going to hang around at all. You probably don't have to really worry about too much flooding. Yeah, man, look at it. It's the wind just like pushing out into downtown Chicago. You're going to get very strong winds very soon here, next couple minutes. Notice how it's, again, really just exploding to the east towards the lake. So, yeah, everywhere in downtown. I mean, if you've never been to Chicago, you've only been to Chicago like once, chances are a lot of touristy stuff all right in here is going to be hit with that very strong winds very soon. What was the reading at the airport? Asked West. They haven't posted it yet. It's not up on here. I'm waiting for. They haven't posted O'Hare Airport. They haven't posted Midway. They haven't posted at the National Weather Service yet. I mean, I know their National Weather Service, they are issuing tornado warnings like crazy right now. So it looks like we are continuing to see these storms, these little areas of a little stronger gusts. Again, I think like areas like around Lake Forest and Highland Park, that's now pushing off the coast. Their strongest winds are going to be over very soon down here by in downtown Chicago. Your strongest winds are happening pretty much right as we're talking here. So if you're watching us for some reason here, like by the Hancock building or something, like you're about to get very strong winds the next minute or so. Further to the south, another area, probably the strongest winds is to south and east of the radar here, over by Frankfort and Orland Hills. Yeah, there we go. That actually corrected itself, and it's showing. Yeah, I mean that's showing like 90 mile per hour winds, like right in here, and that's continuing pushing off these. Again, likely not 90 at the surface, but 70s and 80s are definitely very possible within Frankfort and New Lenox. Possibly some very intense winds with this. And probably knocking power out for quite a few folks, especially more in the suburbs, maybe not so much in Chicago itself. I don't see a whole ton of power lines in comparison, but this is a pretty intense storm here, guys. The tornado warning has obviously pushed off more closer to the coast. Any storms later? It doesn't look like there'll be too many storms later. This is the big ticket, and then after that, maybe some rain, and then we're gonna calm it down here. Keep an eye on this, like within Chicago here, over by. I can't zoom in too much. There's too many roads. By I-90. Whoop. Okay, and now the strongest winds are definitely hitting downtown Chicago, and you get some serious wind tunnel effect through the skyscrapers. And that's going to be heading off into the lake momentarily, next couple minutes. Strong winds, you're going to have strong gusty winds, heavy rain, 15-20 minutes, and it's going to move out. And that's pretty much all that's going to be. A lot of Wisconsin up here, like Kenosha County. I mean, we got a bunch of tornado warnings, but it looks like we're going to be seeing, let me check. Just make sure there might be over by Paddock Lake that we've crossed over into Wisconsin. I know I'm kind of like all over the place with this, but there is a lot going on. So by Paddock Lake, looks like a little bit of a debris signature for that tornado warning. And I don't see anything by Spring Grove or Lake Villa or anything. Oh, yeah, they just canceled the one by Lake Geneva. And I'm not seeing anything okay, might be something over here by Lincolnwood neighborhood of Chicago. This is right by Evanston. There could be something spinning up here. Elgin, Joliet. Joliet, you definitely got some. Joliet might have gotten some of the strongest winds out of this. We're just gonna have to wait for reports to come in because we're like right by the radar. But as we pulled past Joliet, the winds have really shown themselves as very strong. So one can assume that they had winds in excess of 70 miles an hour easily. And what was I with the tornado stuff? Yeah, we're all over the place. All over the place with this, guys. Okay. Let me zoom back out, see if any other reports coming in. Whoa, golf balls, huh? We reported golf ball size hail near I-80 and Lisbon Road in Morris. So I guess we're sneaking some hail out of these guys. I wasn't expecting that. Multiple reports of trees and wires down around the Camp Lake area. And this is in Kenosha County, Wisconsin. And yeah, golf ball size hail, that's weird. In Ottawa, large tree down power lines, numerous large branches down, shed destroyed, time estimated by radar. So still waiting on the wind reports coming in from the airports, I'm assuming. Getting Rockford hail reports confirmed, please. Yes, there was indeed hail in Rockford. Got quarter size hail with that. Nothing too crazy. I mean, there was 2-inch hail in Freeport, and then we had quarter size hail just to the east of Rockford, and that is since passed golf ball size hail in Morris, apparently. I guess I'll have to go back and look at that. I've been really paying more attention to the wind. Let's see. Let's switch to CCs. Let's see if we can see this, guys. Pulling it back. Ah, right there. There's your golf balls in Morris. Right there. Just, man, look at that. Formed out of nowhere. Boom. Golf balls. Most of the town of Morris. Looks like it shifted east. Right along whatever highway this is. Highway 6 towards Manuka. And that was it. That was all the hail. That was golf ball size hail for you. So, there we go. I'll take a moment here to thank our sponsors, C3 Group, Merlin Law Group, and Balance Claims on our supplement. Had them at the beginning of this video. Been going a little while now. Again, with a whole lot going on, it's a little crazy sometimes, but check them out in the description below if you're watching us here on Facebook. Watch us on YouTube. I think it just says at their thing. You can go check them out as well. What's the hail in Joliet? Probably nothing, if anything. Probably very little in the way of any hail. Almost entirely very strong winds with this. Joliet might have had one of the areas with the stronger winds. We'll have to confirm that for you when we get some confirmation, some photos and videos and whatnot. And let's see. Yeah, so in the meantime, we got a quarter report over by Roosevelt Road and Route 53. It's going to be by the Lombard area. Let me go check that out as well. On top of that, we also had a 70-mile-per-hour winds in Paddock Lake. Nope. Okay, we're starting to see more winds coming in. 65-mile-per-hour winds from near Plano. Or did I say that already? Got 60. Oh, no, I got that one already. The DuPage Airport got 62. I'm, again, still waiting on like the major airports. Let's roll it back. Let's see this other hail report that came in. Let's see if I can find it on radar for you guys real quick. Move by Lombard. There it is. There's their hail right there. Goes right along I-355. Notice the lower CCs right here. That's where your hail was. That's where you got quarter-size hail that came in. And you guys must be out doing these reports here, like all on top of it, like crazy. So again, I'm getting those little pop-ups of hail here and there. It's not, so it's mostly strong winds, like, oh yeah, right here by Steger. Look at that. Look at the greens. Those greens are showing those winds over 70 miles an hour here by Chicago Heights. And look at that, just hauling east-southeast. Over by Harvey as well. The strongest wind gusting out here into the lake from downtown Chicago. Pretty strong little couplet here in Lincolnwood and Evanston that's now moving off the coast. Hopefully that's not a tornado. Possibly. It's a little concerning there with the low CCs just right behind me. That little area right in here, that could potentially be something. Oh, good. Good. Glad to hear everyone who's watching is actually like in this area is okay. And we want, we want everybody to make sure everyone gets out of this in one piece. Yeah, it's couplet in Evanston right now. There could be something tornadic within this along Chicago Ave, right along the water. That's the lower CC. The little ball of the green and blue. That's not good. And hopefully it's not anything tornadic, but it's very possible. But thankfully, it's going to be moving off the water onto the water by the next radar update. So, folks, in this area, the worst will be over in a moment. North Clark Street and to West Howard Street. Again, a pretty intense little couplet there. Hopefully, again, this is not a tornado. It's very possible, though, and it'll be moving off the coast. Otherwise, strong winds. It's a dominant story, and this thing is starting to look a little less intense than it was a little while ago. So when it was earlier, it was over by Davenport. Things were very intense. This is looking like it's starting to spread out a little bit, starting to kind of spread itself thin a little more. Yeah, there'll still be strong winds with this as we pull into Indiana, but I don't think we're going to be seeing those 90s and 100s like we were in Iowa and parts of western Illinois. It looks like we're starting to see this thing kind of stretch out, begin to weaken a bit, and hopefully not completely, race all the way across. And it's very hard to get these things to race all the way across with over 100-mile-an-hour winds. So thankfully, beginning to start its weakening trend a little bit. We're getting some other storms in Kansas here as well. We're getting all the hail. Everything is all on what's in north subs. Check that out in just a minute. Northern suburbs. We had here by, or way northern suburbs into even Wisconsin, we're sure 70-mile-an-hour winds within the comma head here, the top of the storm, the main circulation, and then gusting between, I'd say, 60 and 70 miles an hour in northern suburbs, possibly pockets of stronger winds in there as well, and possibly some of which hurricane force as it continues to race off to the south and to the east, and then over in the south side of the city, south and east, where some of the stronger winds currently are located as well. So I'm going to take just a moment here, myself a drink of water. A good time to shout out to one of our sponsors, C3 Group, and I'll be back in just a moment.
Met Matt and Andrew several years ago. Just really awesome guys as far as giving the information, really making the industry better. They care about the contractors. They care about, really how the whole process works. And then they're very honest as far as when we have a claim, to give us their honest opinion as far as whether or not we want to pursue that or not. And then once they receive that claim, they really do a great job at following up with the homeowners, making sure that they're representing our company, because at the end of the day, our client is trusting us to put them in touch with the best in the industry.
All right, guys, and we're back. Still haven't gotten any report. I think the number of reports coming in are beginning to, or they'll probably all come in a little bit later. Again, wind reports are often fairly delayed, and the fact that the National Weather Service in Chicago has to issue all these tornado warnings, they haven't probably been as high priority getting those reports up. So a lot of these will probably be after the fact, but it seems like on average we have gotten at least 60-mile-per-hour winds and pockets of stronger winds, especially sections south and the western suburbs. And I'm curious to see how things are going to be read from like downtown Chicago as well. So a lot of the strongest winds are now moving off the coast into Lake Michigan, with this area over by Chicago Heights with the strongest winds currently, and it's continuing to move south and east. But again, it looks like the storm possibly is reorganizing itself a little bit to the south, but it looks like it is not as strong as it was a few hours ago, or just an hour and a half ago. We were seeing over 100-mile-per-hour winds. I think a lot of Chicago might have lucked out a little bit, getting probably only about 70-mile-an-hour winds, which is no slouch either. So a lot of strong winds with this. The western suburbs likely got the strongest winds, and then any possible little tornado spin-ups that may have happened as well. So again, we also got some hail as well. Got some golf ball size hail in the town of Morris, some quarters over by Lombard, and that's really all I got for hail with this in the last a little while. I got some over by Rockford as well. But I mean, look at this thing. Look at the spin. You can see it just kind of all spinning around in here where we had 70-mile-per-hour winds, and that's going to cross into Lake Michigan a little bit. Might weaken when it gets over the water. We'll see. And yeah, that's what we've seen so far. And it looks like it's extending all the way back into Michigan now, and even some 65-mile-per-hour winds all the way back into Kansas and into Oklahoma as well. So a lot of activity here today. Been a pretty busy afternoon. All of this wind's gonna be is all on one map, so you're gonna get everything from all the way back to when the storm started, back by Omaha, and then all the way through central sections of Iowa, where probably the most severe wind occurred, through Davenport, and now through Chicago, and then however far this ends up going. It's all going to be one big map. You can check that on hailtrace.com. It's being updated live. Put pictures on there. All it works. I think this is how we're making this our first 5-star wind event that isn't a tornado, hurricane. So check that out. Seems like a pretty wild storm here, guys. And with us not getting any more airports giving us an update, I'm surprised. I figure usually we get an update with an airport. So again, these winds are looking strong. However, we're not seeing as much craziness as what we saw earlier, where we had a lot. So if I zoom in right here, we had a lot more of this black and white showing up, and that's usually where you have those strongest winds, where we were seeing the winds over the 100 miles an hour. Notice how it's very minimal now. So again, this thing has really started, I think, weakened a fair amount. We're now getting to more normal, manageable severe weather versus high-end insanity of 100-mile-an-hour winds like we were seeing a little earlier. Just over the course of it moving closer to the lake seems to have helped weaken this thing a fair amount. So with that, I think I might wind down this live coverage for a bit, partially to preserve my voice. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. Again, thanks to our sponsors as always. And we will come back if anything crazy happens. If this thing strengthens more over Lake Michigan or gets towards Indy and ends up deciding to be a lot stronger, we'll be here to give you guys updates. As always, check us out, hailtrace.com. Give us a call, 855-334-4245, or give us an email, info@hailtrace.com. Thanks to See-Through Group, Merlin Law Group, and our Supplement and Palace Clients sponsoring as always. And we will see you later.
John here with Art of the Supplement, and I wanted to invite you to our brand new Facebook group, Art of the Supplement Nation. We've assembled the industry's top experts to bring you the best answers to all your insurance restoration questions. It's on Facebook, not MySpace. Delete that. You don't need MySpace anymore.
This is Larry Bache with the Merlin Law Group, helping policyholders for more than 30 years.